Hi guys, welcome to another video. Today's topic is my top 5 or 6 travel tips. I don't know how many it's going to be, maybe I'll add some at the end, but yeah, travel tips. So I've been traveling a lot lately. This past month I've been in 5 different cities, one of them outside of Germany, that was Barcelona. And the next 2 or 3 months don't look to be quieting down at all in either. So lots of traveling up ahead, and so far I can say that I have learned quite a few important things. And I also just about travel in general, I think travel has become such an important part of my life. And I mean, I've always been traveling a lot, but now is really the time where I'm starting to travel of my own accord and not with my parents, together with my parents, because we traveled a lot when I was younger. But just deciding where I want to go and planning these trips on my own, paying for them on my own even, which is kind of a new experience as well, but it's quite awesome and very fulfilling, definitely. And I think travel is such an amazing way to expand your mind and expand your perspective. And because of that, it's also I think everybody should travel. I think you should also be traveling. Obviously everyone has different places that they want to travel to, but I'm pretty sure you've got at least 3 places that you would really like to go to at some point in your life. So better sooner than later, right, actually. And yeah, let me just get straight into it. So the first thing obviously that you want to find is accommodation. And I've been using Airbnb, which is fantastic. Couch surfing is also really great, and what I can really recommend to you is to go and travel for at least a month or more, because that way you can usually rent out the room or the flat or whatever that you usually stay in, wherever your hometown or your current actual residential city might be. And so you can actually rent that out. If you're going away for a longer time, you can usually rent it out for a bit more than you're usually paying, so you don't have to pay rent for the month, so you've already got a lot of money back that you can then use for your travels. So that's a really important not compromise, but just something to keep in mind. Because for example on Airbnb there's a lot of countries, for example Spain is not that expensive to travel to, and if you pay a monthly rent, so you rent out a flat or a room for a whole month, you'll usually pay around the same or less probably than you would pay for your normal apartment. For example, me living here in Berlin, if I was to rent out this flat for a little bit more than I'm paying for it now, I could easily stay in Barcelona for a month and even still have a little bit of money over. So traveling for longer amounts of time is great to save on accommodation, and it's also great for immersing yourself. So if you're traveling for a longer amount of time, try to get a bit of a hang of the language even. That's always a good thing to do, even just the basic phrases hi, how are you, no, I don't want your your product, how much does this cost, please, thank you, what's the time. Those very basic kind of things are always really good to know. And I always say the most important thing to be able to say in any language is, I'm sorry, I don't speak your language, can we speak English please? Just I know that in about 6 or 7 languages, apart from English obviously. So that is super convenient to know, it really is. Next thing is food. What I try to do is whenever I travel, I try to go someplace where I will have access to kitchen space so that I can make my own food for at least 1 or 2 meals a day. I do like to go out obviously to experience the food of wherever I'm traveling to. But it's really good to have your access to your own kitchen, because it saves you so much money. If you go to the normal supermarkets that everyone else goes to as well, and not the super touristy places, you're already saving money on food. And if you're cooking for yourself, super easy. You save so much money. You save so much money. Just believe me on this. You can save the meals will literally cost half at maximum of what you would pay in a restaurant. And even if you don't have access to kitchen space, then of course it's really convenient if you're actually eating only raw foods, because you don't maybe you need a blender, but you can just munch everything straight away. So that's really convenient. But otherwise, if you're not a complete raw foodist, it's good to have access to a kitchen. It really is. So just keep that in mind also when looking for an accommodation. Next thing is your luggage and traveling. I recently trying to embrace the principle of the 15-item wardrobe, which is basically apart from socks and underwear and, well, for me, bras as well, you have 15 pieces of clothing that you always wear, and the rest you don't really wear that often anyway, so you don't need to take it with you. So that will be maybe like 3 or 4 pairs of pants, like maybe a week's worth of t-shirts, tops, and like, I don't know, 2 jerseys or something like that, and then maybe like 1 or 2 pairs of shoes. You don't actually need more, and that will always fit into hand luggage. So if you're using cheap flights, you don't have to check an extra luggage. If you've got like a big backpack, that's even easier because you don't have to like pull a little suitcase behind you, even better. So try to travel light. You really don't need that many clothes, especially if you're going to warm areas, which is what I do anyways. I don't see the point of going to cold areas. I've never been skiing, to be honest. Maybe I will, then my suitcase will probably be a bit fuller. But at the moment I'm traveling to warm areas only, and I don't need that many clothes. Bikini, maybe, I forgot that exactly. But even that you can make part of your 15 item wardrobe, and if you're doing that, especially if you're a girl, if you can do that, 15 items and that's it, well done. That's quite an achievement, and it just makes traveling so much easier. And especially if you're there for a month, there's always a laundromat somewhere. Even if you're in a nice apartment and you found good accommodation, they'll probably even have a washing machine right there. So you really don't need to take 4 weeks of worth of clothing. That's completely unnecessary. And local laundromats are also really cheap usually, so there's absolutely no problem with that. You can take those 2 hours out of your day once a week or once every 2 weeks. That's really not a problem. Okay, so that's the luggage. Another thing about food is every city has areas where all the tourists go. Like in Barcelona, that's the Rambla, which is where all the tourists go. It's where all the restaurants are, and it's so expensive. So please don't go and eat there. If you go and eat, go to like smaller local places. You know, maybe get an app. For vegan food, Happy Cow is fantastic. Otherwise, get something like Yelp. You can just download the app to your phone. So that is just, it's so much more convenient, really. Because you just end up paying also like between 3 and 5 euros less for a meal. I remember in Barcelona there were so many awesome vegan restaurants, and I would have never thought about that. And if I had just gone like down the main street where everyone else was, I would have never found them. But then I had my Happy Cow app, and we got like whole lunch menus of food for like 8 euros with like a starter, a main course, a dessert, and like a small glass of juice or like a water, and bread. So like for 8 euros, that is amazing. So make sure that you like kind of check out where to go and eat, or really get tips from the locals, because they will not tell you to go eat by the touristy places. They will tell you their little secret tips where to go and where to get like good cheap food and local food. So take their tips to heart. That's that's that for eating as well. And the last thing I also want to talk about is water, because not all countries or cities have very drinkable water. In Barcelona, I think it was very heavily chlorinated. Like if you took a shower, you could smell the chlorine in the water, and you don't want to drink that. And it was good that I knew, because otherwise I would have like just tried to drink the water, and then I would have had no water, and I would have been really annoyed, because I drink about at least 2 liters of water a day, and that would have really sucked. So I bought like an 8-liter water canister in one of the supermarkets, and then I just like refilled my little bottle from there to just take along. So make sure you have access to good water, and check beforehand, because even if the water tastes okay, sometimes there's a problem with like bacteria and stuff. Like in Southeast Asia, for example, you want to be a bit careful with bacteria. Not because they'll kill you, but because our Western intestines just aren't used to the bacteria over there, and likewise for them over here, basically. So if you've been there for a couple of months, you can probably drink the water because you've actually gotten acclimatized and your gut's gotten acclimatized. But with like different bacteria in the water, just be careful in the beginning and just take it easy. So that's water. Yeah. So let's just recap. Find cheap accommodation. Try to travel for longer amounts of time so that you can actually rent out your home accommodation and get a better deal. Make sure you have a kitchen wherever you're traveling in order to save money on food. Don't go eating in touristy areas, but rather get tips from the locals on where to eat to save even more money on food. Make sure you have access to good water, and learn a few basic language skills, just to communicate basic things, because not all places have English speakers. And travel light. Try to get into that 15-item wardrobe rule kind of thing. Yeah. So that's that. That's my top 6 travel tips. I hope you find them helpful. Please let me know what other travel tips you have that you maybe find really important. Let me know in the comments down below if I forgot something really important that I really shouldn't have forgotten. Otherwise, just let me know what you think of this video and where you want to travel to as well, because I'm really curious where you guys want to go, and maybe I'll put it onto my list as well, because my list of places that I want to go to is just growing, and it's like 20 countries that I want to visit. So good thing I'm only 20. I still have lots of time to visit lots of countries. Maybe by the time I'm 70 I'll have visited half of them. Okay, cool. Bye guys, see you in the next video.